Kounde has snubbed Tottenham Hotspurs after Tottenham had interest, and Kounde rejected a move. And it now looks like Chelsea, the London rival, has swooped in, and we'll see him move to Chelsea. London is, of course, blue, and Kounde would agree. And it looks like Zouma will go the other way. The financial terms are a bit more wary, but I'll pass it off to Lane here to give the official report from Fabrizio Romano.
Well, Fabrizio Romano has come out saying exclusively Jules Kounde deal update. Chelsea are in advanced talks with Sevilla, and Kurt Zouma could be included in the negotiation. Possible swap deal to go through in the next couple of hours/days with Zuma plus money for Kounde to Chelsea. Personal terms agreed for Kounde until 2026. As a Chelsea fan, what do you think of this transfer so far?
I think it would be a brilliant sign, and I think it's a smart move towards the future. With, of course, Thiago Silva and Cesar Azpilicueta are not going to be there for the long term, and you need someone else that can go on alongside Christensen and Rudiger. And I think Kounde is an absolutely brilliant signing. Now there is going to be some skepticism and some concern around the fact that he isn't that tall. He is only 6 feet. Of course, having that aerial ability is so important, being a defender in the Premier League. But he is going to be on the outside of a back three. He does have good leaping and aerial ability, and he obviously doesn't have the height of someone like Christensen or like Rudiger. But even the likes of Thiago Silva, someone who's good in the air, who just has good aerial ability, doesn't possess all of that height. Cesar Azpilicueta is someone who's shown to be good in a back three slash back five under Tuchel as well, with that limited amount of height. And I think he'll be a great fit alongside that right center back side. I think a pairing of him and Reece James on the right hand side is something that can be very positive and something to look forward to for Chelsea for a long time. Guys that are both in their young 20s that can be at the club for the foreseeable future. I think it's a very good sign and a good move for the future and the present that can really look to improve the team already on what is a very good defense and can just even bolster it even further, adding more depth and improving for the future years.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think this is a great transfer, but on the height thing, he's actually the same height as us. He is 5'10". But if you look at his stats, he wins a crazy amount of aerial duels for his amount of height. He wins 3.5 per game, putting him in the 85th percentile. But in the Premier League, we've talked about it. It's a physical league. You're going to need to get up there, win a lot of aerial duels. But since Chelsea play that back three under Thomas Tuchel, I'm not sure how important he will be aerially when you have the likes of Christensen, Thiago Silva, Rudiger around you. I don't think he'll be too bad of a threat in the air when you have the likes of Chris Wood and Calvert Lewin around you. I think other guys are gonna be able to cover him. But Kunde is extremely quick to cover in balls and behind, and he is just a very good fast defender. I wouldn't be too worried about that height. As you said, he is still very good in the air. And on the ground, he's an unbelievable ball playing center back, and he's very quick, and he is great at winning challenges on the ground. Defensive wise, he's phenomenal, and you can just count on him to win a challenge. And that back line, like you said, for the future as well as the present. In the future, a back line of more than likely him, Christensen, and Rudiger, or if you bring in another one eventually, which Chelsea usually do. And then you still have James, you still have Chilwell. That's a phenomenal back line. Could be one of the best in the world for me. And it's just incredible to see at 22 years of age playing 34 games in the league and 7 games in the Champions League, totaling 3 goals and assists. His stats are just unbelievable, and still playing for the French national team at his age is remarkable, really.
Yeah, it really is. I think it's a very good signing for Chelsea. As you mentioned, is only 22. He's very young. He has a lot of room to improve and already is a very good center back. He has that good aerial ability for his height. He's very good on the ball, very quick. He's going to be able to win a lot of balls in behind. Anything getting in behind is not really going to get around him. He's going to be able to keep up with anyone that has that pace, whether that be on balls and behind or on anyone making a run, and that's going to be very valuable. On not necessarily a slow Chelsea backline, but not anyone that naturally exuded a ton of pace. Rudiger and Christensen can get there at full stride, but Kounde acceleration or pace in stride is just very quick. He's quick on the ball. He's comfortable on the ball. He just has that bit more in naturally in that smaller frame at 5'10", as you mentioned. He just is a bit nimbler, a bit quicker, and can get out of those situations a bit on the ball with a bit more ease, more so than some other center backs can. I think it's going to be a really good fit. Of course, it's a big move, even though it is at Sevilla. It's still a big move at the age of 22 for a center back, especially to make a move to the Premier League. But he doesn't have to be the guy right away, which I think is great. He doesn't have to be a guy who's starting in every day for Chelsea. He might be the fourth/fifth center back next year and still play a handful of games because there's no shortage of games for Chelsea next year with 4 competitions. And of course, Cesar Azpilicueta will play there a bit, but also play there a bit at right back. So Kounde is going to get a ton of game time, but he doesn't have to be relied on as the number one, as the number two guy. He'll still have Silva, Rudiger, and Christensen ahead of him if they feel the need to. They can work him in, get him comfortable to life at the Premier League, and just slowly work him in to becoming a core part of the team.
Yeah, for sure. And like we said, in the other way will be Kurt Zouma plus some cash, which we are not sure yet on how much will be going the other way. But Kurt Zouma is, for me, was one of the best Chelsea center backs last year. But he did only play 24 games with 5 appearances. Like you said, you have so much center back depth. That is just what happens. And injuries are a thing for Kurt Zouma too, once in a while. But Kurt Zouma being 6'2" 2.5, playing a great amount of games, he's still only 26 years of age, and he is phenomenal, talented. Last year for me under Thomas Tuchel, he was brilliant. Same under Frank, and I knew one of these center backs would have probably had to go in the other way for Chelsea to save money for another deal, probably for Declan Rice or a striker. And you got so many center backs, one would have had to go in the other way for me because Kounde would have came in. You would have saw Christensen, Rudiger, Zuma, Azpilicueta, Thiago Silva. So many big names there still. But Zuma was the one who got chose going the other direction, and I think Sevilla are still getting a win for themselves over here in this transfer too. It's a win-win for me in this transfer. Zuma is a fantastic center back. He's unbelievable in the air, which we all know in the Premier League. He wins so many headers, scores so many goals up on those free kicks, those corners, and I think Sevilla are really getting that absolute steal of a deal here for Kurt Zouma and some absolute cash too in the steal.
Yeah, for sure. I think similar to the deal we talked about yesterday with Brian Gill, where they're getting a player back who can help them and some cash. I think you're going to get that even more so in this deal, where Zuma probably comes in and is close to, if not still, their best center back on the team after selling Kounde. I think Zuma's still going to be very good. Of course, he just didn't fit in that well into Tuchel's system in a back five, but that's no discredit to his ability. I think throwing him in a back four is a bit more of a natural fit for him. As you mentioned, he is so strong in the air, whether that be defensively or off of corners, being able to create some scoring chances for you up top as well. It's really the only thing that's knocked his ability down outside of Tuchel and that system is just his passing ability. And not that it's horrendous, it's just not anywhere near the level of the rest of the Chelsea center backs, and that's really been the downfall for him. But defensively, he's very defensively sound. Someone of his size, he's not slow. He still is quite quick, especially when he gets in stride. It's hard to get around him. He has that size, he has that strength. And I think he's going to be a very good center back for Sevilla in the La Liga. And then you're still going to get a nice chunk of cash, whether that's 30 million, 40 million, whatever it may be. You're going to get a nice sum. And so you look at Sevilla's business now, you get rid of Kounde and Brian Gill, and you're bringing in two players for your team, especially in Kurt Zouma, as well as what's probably going to be over 50, 60 million in funds at the bare minimum. And for players that were probably going to move on anyways, to be able to get these type of swaps deals that can help the team immediately as well as bring in some funds, I think is just some really good business from Sevilla.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And touching on that passing, I'll pop in a couple extra stats here. Progressive passes for Kurt Zouma. We know those center back from Chelsea like to move up. They like to play those long passes, those through balls. Kurt Zouma only plays 2.7 per the 90, and that puts him in the 53rd percentile of all center backs, which is extremely low for progressive passing. Pass completion, 91.5%, 89th percentile on passes attempted, 74 in the 91st percentile. Obviously, that's quite high for completion attempts, but that doesn't mean he's passing forward. That means he's passing side to side or to his defensive midfielders and keeping it nice and short. So those stats don't really say a heck of a lot for a center back. The progressive passing says a lot for me because of the way Chelsea plays. And he doesn't really fit the way some Chelsea center backs play. As you, like you said, the Thiago Silva, Azpilicueta, Rudiger, all are great on the ball, can move it well, can hit it long. And that's what Zuma doesn't have. And you also said Zuma fits better in the back four. I completely agree. And I think at Sevilla, he will fit very well at that back four system for Sevilla and Lopetegui.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a good move from both sides. I think Chelsea get to bring in a good center back in Kounde and help them now and for the future. And Sevilla get a few more funds to add to their pile that they are eventually going to be able to use for some transfers down the road, as well as being able to add a very good center back for this season, as well as moving forward, as Kurt Zouma, as you mentioned, is only 26. But let us know what you think down in the comment section from Chelsea and Sevilla's side of this deal. Who you think won the transfer, and if you think Kounde will make a good adjustment into the Premier League. If you guys did enjoy the video, feel free to leave a like down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I'll see you guys in the next one.